There was an epic battle at the box office over this last weekend, but what movie came out number one? I'm Adam, this is Does It Hold Up, and you know what we do here every single Tuesday. We take a look at the box office from this past weekend to see what were the top 10 movies, check in on how some of the older movies are doing, look at a few more charts, and just generally have a good time with numbers. So come along with me as we get started with the top 10 movies at the box office this past weekend. The first movie, which is absolutely no surprise to probably anyone, it's Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire. This movie took in just over $80 million in its opening weekend, which is a fantastic start for this movie. Do I think it's going to do much more than this? I'm not 100% sure. Saw it just this past weekend. We'll have a review for it out tomorrow, and it might kinda sizzle out pretty quick. In its second week, in second place is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire with $15.5 million, but it has a gigantic drop of 65%, which probably not what they're looking for. $73.2 million so far overall. Look at that. Empires 1 and 2. All we needed is a re-release of The Empire Strikes Back, and we could have went for the trifecta here. In its fifth week, in third place, is Dune Part 2 with another $11.3 million. Just a 36% drop. This movie is doing well week to week. It's already taken in over $250 million. In fourth place, in its fourth week, is Kung Fu Panda 4. 4. That's how you remember it. It took in $10.3 million. A 37% drop, and it's gone over $150 million here at the domestic box office. In fifth place is Immaculate in its second week with a 39% drop, but it still took in $3.2 million. It's just over $11 million at the box office. In sixth place is Tilu Square or Squared. Not sure how to pronounce this one. Let me know in the comments if I'm pronouncing this one correctly. Only have the estimates for this movie coming out of India, and it took in $2.5 million estimated. In seventh place in its third week is Arthur the King with another just under $2.5 million, a 42% drop. In eighth place in its second week is Late Night with the Devil with another $2.1 million, a stronghold, only 24% drop, $6.2 million so far. And in ninth place is a new movie called Crew, also coming out of India with $1.7 million. This is also an estimate. A lot of these numbers come in either super late or pretty much after I've finished recording this because, just can't have anything work out sometimes. But the estimates are always usually pretty close. And in 10th place is Imaginary in its fourth week and its last week probably in the top 10 with about $1.4 million, a 50% drop. This is a Blumhouse movie, so it was probably made for somewhere around $4 or $5 million, and it's brought in $26.2 million, so they're probably pretty happy with that. 3 movies fell out of the top 10 this past weekend. Love Lies Bleeding and Cabrini both fall out after just 3 weeks, and Bob Marley One Love finally drops out of the top 10 after a strong 6 weeks. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the weekend comparison chart. New chart we just brought in 2 weeks ago. People seem to like these charts, so we're going to keep going with them. How did this weekend in 2024 compare to the 13th weekend of 2023? Well, if we take a look at the chart, you can see that we actually did much better this weekend than we did in the same time frame last year. In fact, Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire put us at $136.4 million for the weekend compared to last year when Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves was the number 1 movie at the box office, and it only helped bring in a total box office of $96.6 million. This is a great sign. Dungeons & Dragons obviously opened up much lower than expected, even though that's a shame. That movie was absolutely phenomenal, and it's kind of embarrassing that it didn't do better at the theater. I thought for sure it was going to kind of be a sneaky hit and just have those legs and run for a long time and make a bunch of money, but it had a great second life on home video. Apparently it was a very, very widely viewed movie on streaming, so that's got something going for it. I hope it did enough on home release that we can get a sequel to this one, because I really liked it, and I'm kind of upset that more people did not check this one out. But it didn't open up very well, and that's why we see such a huge difference in the weekend to weekend comparison. Let's go ahead and take a look at the top 10 movies of 2024 so far. This is all movies that have sold tickets here in 2024, and only the tickets they've sold for 2024. So if they came out in 2023, like our fourth place movie, none of that money counts. It's just the 2024 gross. First place is still Dune Part 2. Second, Kung Fu Panda 4. Third, Bob Marley One Love. Still inching ever closer to that $100 million, but having only made about $450,000 this past weekend, I don't think it's actually going to get there. I thought maybe it could leg it out, but doesn't look like it will. In fourth place is the 2024 gross for Wonka. Fifth place is new to the list, and it's Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire, with that just over $80 million. Another new movie to this list is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire in sixth place with $73.2 million so far. Seventh is Migration. Eighth, Mean Girls 9 Beekeeper. 10, Anyone But You. You can see that each one of those movies just dropped 2 spots to make room for Godzilla and Ghostbusters. 2 movies fell off of this list this past weekend, and it was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which came out all the way back in 2023, so the fact that it stood this long in the top 10 for this year, pretty good. And the other movie was Argylle, possibly the biggest disappointment of 2024. We're not even, we're a quarter of the way through this year, and I'm kind of calling it. Argylle is probably going to be the biggest disappointment of the year. That movie should have done a lot better, but it just wasn't a good movie, so that's kind of what you get. Listen up, Hollywood, make better movies, and people would actually go, check them out. The other new chart that we brought in a couple weeks ago is the genre distribution chart. This is what percentage of the total gross at the box office has each genre of movie brought in. So, taking a look at this chart, you can see that action movies still sits in first place, having brought in 36.5% of the $1.6 billion gross at the box office, domestic box office so far. Dramas in second place with 17.68%. Comedy, third place with 17.3%. Musical keeps dropping because no new musicals are releasing, so it's now only making up about 10.5%. Adventure, 7.1%. Romantic comedies, just under 4%. Thank you, Anyone But You. That's why that number is even that high. Thriller and suspense makes up 2.99%, and horror makes up 2.98%. Really close, but I didn't want to combine those two. All other genres make up the rest of 0.5%. That's a nice little distribution there. We can see, obviously, that action movies are far and away leading the pack because, Dune Part 2 is an action movie. Godzilla and Kong is classified as an action movie, so it's gonna start opening up that gap a little bit more, but as the year goes on, we'll kind of see it all play out a little bit closer, I'm expecting, with some of the movies coming out soon. All right, that's it for the charts this week, but there is something else that I wanted to talk about. There's a new movie hitting theaters this weekend, starring Dev Patel, directed in his debut by Dev Patel, and it's called The Monkey Man. This is basically a John Wick style movie of action and fight sequences. It looks really good. I have tickets to see it this Thursday so that I can get a review out for you guys this weekend, but I'm not sure it's going to do really all that well. Was thinking about this when I saw the previews for this movie. Most of the movies that we see, like when I just went to go see Godzilla and Kong, a good portion of the theater I was in were younger kids or entire families going to see the movies. Lately, there hasn't been a lot of quote-unquote adult movies made just for adults to go see. The Monkey Man is one of those. And because there's usually not a lot of offerings for just adults to go see, they don't really pull in a lot of money, which is why you see a lot of family-friendly or Deadpool-esque type movies where Yeah, they're going to have some swears and some violence, but it's a lot of fun as well, so younger people can check it out also. Monkey Man is going to be the first big test this year of a movie I think had a really good marketing plan. A lot of people are talking about this movie, a lot of people are interested in this movie. If the movie's good, maybe it'll make some money. But I'm not sure how much. I'd love to say this movie's like absolutely going to be $100 million. But I don't even know if it's going to make 75 million, 50, 40. I'm not sure where this movie's going to end up because Hollywood no longer gives us these adult films to go check out. So when we have extra money in our pocket, it's not exactly the first thing we think of. Let's go check out whatever the newest movie is, because everything out there is more geared towards families now. And I think that's a big problem. So I'm hoping Monkey Man makes a ton of money this weekend so that we can get more movies, not just like it, but more movies that are geared towards an older audience. I don't know. We'll have to see how it all plays out. All right, that's it for me this week. I'll be back again tomorrow with a review of Godzilla and Kong the New Empire. We'll be back on Friday with our video series where we have been watching one new movie every day for the entire year. And once a month, we check in with all the movies that we have watched and kind of let you know what we thought about them. So that'll be out Friday. And then I'll be back, obviously, next Tuesday with another roundup of the weekend's box office. Until then, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and as always, keep watching movies.